Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So it is a research aptitude part 2. Okay, so in the previous video, I uploaded the research aptitude part 1. So it is a part 2. And before going into the main content of this video, if you are not yet subscribed the channel, then please do subscribe. Okay, and then tap the bell icon and please share this video also, okay, to your friends or colleagues who are preparing for the UGC NET exam. Why? Because here all the contents of the UGC NET paper 1 will be uploaded in this YouTube channel, so it will be very much beneficial. And the WhatsApp invitation link I kept in the description box of this video. And whatever the PPTs I used here, these PPTs also you can download. That the download link I gave in the description box of this video. Okay. So actually these are the different topics in the research aptitude. So first one is the research, next one is the methods of research. So while coming to the research, the part 1 already I uploaded the previous, my previous lecture is regarding this topic, and in this video we are going to see the second topic, that is different methods of research. Okay, and in the next subsequent videos we will see the steps of research, thesis and article writing, application of ICT in research, and the research ethics. Next, coming to the methods of research. So generally, as per the UGC syllabus, we can find out that experimental, descriptive, historical, qualitative, and quantitative methods of research. But these are the different types of research here. Okay, so here I took the KVS Madan textbook as a reference. Okay, for preparing of a few of my slides. Okay. So basic of classification, that means as per the objectives wise, that research can be classified into the 5 types, that is descriptive, correlation, explanatory, exploratory, and experimental. And as per the outcome basis as per the outcome basis, research is classified into fundamental research and applied research. As per the logic wise, deductive research and the inductive research. And as per the process, quantitative research and the qualitative research. And while coming to the inquiry mode type, the structured and as well as the unstructured research. And idea or concept, the research is classified into conceptual and the empirical research. Okay, so let's have the details regarding all these different types of research here. Okay, so from the methods of research, that means from this topic definitely you will get 1 or 2 questions in the UGC NET exam, so please concentrate here guys. So as per the Cook, one of the famous person, okay, he beautifully outlined the research as, that means research means RESEARCH. So he mentioned that R is nothing but rational, that is a logical way of thinking. Okay, and E stands for the expert and exhaustive, that is considering all the elements or aspects. Okay, treatment means exhaustive treatment means, so in order to support your research, you have to consider all the variables and all the elements, okay, and all the situations. And S stands for the search and the solution. That means you have to search again and again, and then you have to find out the proper solution. And E stands for the exactness. That means whatever the solution or the methodology you are taking, that must be exactly apt to your mentioned research problem. And A stands for the analysis. That means you have to properly analysis, you have to do the analysis properly for the whatever the data you collected or whatever the information you collected from the respondents. And R stands for the relationship of the facts, and C is nothing but critical observation, the careful planning, constructive attitude, and the condensed generalization. And H stands for the honesty and the hard working. That means it goes for the research ethics guys. That means in the case of research ethics, you have to follow the honestiness. Okay, that one separate topic is there for the research ethics that we will see in the upcoming videos. Fine. Next, the classification of research on the basis of objectives. Okay, so as we already know that there are 5 different types of research categories are there under the objectives. So here the first one is a descriptive type of research. The term descriptive itself, it's nothing but an explainer. That means you have to explain about something, and you have to give some kind of theory type of supportive statements for your research work. So that's why descriptive can be called as a self-explanatory. Okay, and the research that describes a situation, an event, and an institution is a descriptive research. Okay, it is very most important, guys. The research that describes the situation, event, or an institution is nothing but a descriptive research. Okay, and it describes the nature of the situation. That means how the incident happened. Okay, what is the reason? Okay, the nature of the situation as it exists at the time of study. And the descriptive research answers the question that who did that, okay, what is that, and where it was happened, when happened, and how it was happened. So all such type of things are going to be mentioned in the descriptive type of research. Right? Next. So descriptive research comes under, it's a quantitative type of research method, guys. A quantitative type of the research method means basically the quantitative type of research is nothing but collecting the data, manipulating the data, and after manipulating, coming to the conclusion. Okay, that is nothing but a quantitative. And in simple words, the descriptive research is all about describing the phenomena or else observing and then coming to the conclusions. Okay, and hence here the information is collected without changing the environment. That means nothing is manipulated here. So without changing any type of surrounding things or the environment, we have to collect the data. So it is any study that is not truly experimental. So I think you can understand that from the previous, from this slide itself. Okay, descriptive is nothing but it's just one kind of explanatory type of research. Okay, if any one situation was happened, okay, so when it was happened, how it was happened, where it was happened. Okay, so like that. That means here we are not going to do any type of experiments here. Based upon the collected data, we are coming to one conclusion. That's it. So it is not an experimental research. It includes the surveys and the fact-finding inquiries with adequate interpretation. Surveys means generally you can observe that the national population survey will happen for each and every 10 years or else a decade. So that one also can be called as a descriptive type of research. That means whatever the survey happens, to find out the literacy rate and the employment rate, okay, and the socio-economic status of India. Okay, what is the male count and the female count? Okay, so collecting the data, okay, like that. That is the best example of the descriptive type of research. So what I told here, the national sample survey. So okay, so this one comes under the best example of the descriptive research. Right. Next, depending upon the number of times of data you are collecting, the descriptive research is again divided into cross-sectional study and the longitudinal study. That means, as I told that descriptive research is nothing but collecting the data from the different people or different situations or different incidents. Okay, so based upon the frequency of collecting of data, that means how many times you are collecting data, only one time in the lifetime, or else every day, or else every month. Okay, like that. Okay, depending upon that one, okay, how many number of times you are collecting the data, based upon that one, we are going to divide the descriptive research into the two types. The cross-sectional means one-time interaction. That means it is one-time data collection. That's it. And while coming to the longitudinal study means it's a study that collects the data more than once from the same individuals. More than once. That means if a person is there, okay, if this person is going to the, let's take the person is going to the gym. That means he is daily calculating his weight. Okay, so first day, what is the weight of that person? Second day, third day, fourth day, fifth. That means daily. That means more than once he is taking the data of his weight. Okay, whether he is reducing or else gaining the weight. Right? So if more than once we are collecting the data, then it is called as a longitudinal study. Next. So here we are having the few more different types of descriptive research are there. Apart from the cross-section and the longitude, that is a survey research, correlation research, and the causal comparative studies. Okay, so ex post facto, historical, exploratory, analytical research are also comes under the types of the descriptive research. Fine, guys. See, there are so many types of descriptive research are there. Out of that one, the two I explained, that is cross-section and the longitudinal. And while coming to the remaining, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we will see right now. So survey type of research means, as I already told you, that the survey are conducted to create the authentic descriptions of the existing situation. Okay, that means the present situation or phenomena that helps to carrying out the statistical analysis, diagnosing the problems, and make more informed decisions and the intelligent plans for improving the situation. That means in the survey, the people will collect the data, and then as I told that, okay, what is the literacy rate of the India? Okay, so based upon this literacy rate, then in the next budget, okay, the government will improve its budget to the literacy. That means for the education. So like that, if the present existing situation they can analyze, then wherever the weak points are there, they can able to improve that weak points. That means improving the situation can be done. Okay, it is a survey research. And correlation research means it represents that relation between the two variables or the characters. Okay, relation between the two variables or characters. That means if I'm taking the two variables x and y, okay, how both these two are related. I mean, if I'm changing the y, how the x is changing, or else if I'm changing the x, how y is changing. Okay, that is nothing but correlation research. The name itself, they are telling that relational. That means how both the two variables or characters are related to each other. Okay, so for example, that is nothing but a correlation, and in this correlation also we are having the two different types are there. One is the positive and second one is the negative. Okay, so positive correlation means if you are increasing the x, then y also increases. Okay, that is nothing but positive relation between both these two. And the negative relation means if you are increasing the x, then y is decreasing. It is nothing but a negative relation, negative correlation. So the above one is the positive and the below one is the negative correlation. Fine. Next. So yeah, as I told that correlation studies are intended to answer the following three questions. First one, is there any relation between the two variables or not? The first point is, if x and y, is there any relation between both these two or not? Okay, we are going to find out yes or no. If the answer is no, then it is not comes under the correlation. Okay, and if the answer is yes, then again the two types will come. One is the positive and second one is the negative. That means what is the direction of the relationship, whether it is positive or the negative. Next, if it is a positive, then magnitude. That means how much it is increasing. If it is a negative, then magnitude, how much it is decreasing. Okay, so like that, these three questions will come under the correlation type of studies. Next, ex post facto. Ex post facto means already done. Okay, ex post facto means already done. So it is conducted in the context of phenomena after it has occurred or else at the time of its occurrence. Generally, we can tell that if any one incident was done, already done. Okay, then you are trying to do some kind of research on the already done incidents, then it is called as a ex post facto research. For example, let's take the Bhopal gas tragedy. Okay, that incident was already done. But if you're trying to do some kind of research, why? Because why it was happened, what is the reason, what was the chemical reaction done, what are the safety precautions we have to take. If you're doing such type of research, then it comes under as an ex post facto type of research. So it is basically deals with the non-manipulated variables. Why? Because you can't able to manipulate the variables. Why? Because whatever the incident was happened, you have to just simply collect that. Okay, and we will do this type of research basically the social sciences as well as the business organizations. Next, historical research. Historical research means it usually focuses on the historical aspect of issue of interest or the problem. For example, how the modern education system evaluated, or else how the life on the earth existed. Okay, how the life on the earth existed and how the water came on the earth. Okay, how the earth formed, such type of things. That means historical type of research means just like here, whatever the example is mentioned, how the evaluation was happened. Okay, so doing the research based upon that type of things is nothing but a historical research. And now while coming to the analytical research means here, researcher uses the facts or information already available. Okay, already available. That means the researcher is not going to create the new information or the new variables. Whatever the facts or the informations already available, so doing analysis. Okay, doing analysis, that means it attempts to make the critical evaluation of the material or the situation or the incident. Critical evaluation means in-depth analysis. Okay, next, exploratory research. Generally it is done in the beginning of the research. That means it is undertaken to explore an area. Okay, to explore an area, I mean, basically, if any one area or else if any one incident is very little known, but I mean, little known means, if for example, if any one invention is there, that so whenever invention is done in any one small area, then if that invention you want, when you are doing some research, okay, that invention has to be explored to all over the India and all over the world, then what are the different possibilities that you are doing the research to explore that invention or else any one incident, anything, okay, if you want to explore anything, okay, an area, then it comes under the exploratory type of the research. Fine. Next, exploratory type of research means it attempts to answer how and why between two aspects of a situation or a phenomena. Okay, that means how the two situations are interlinked with each other. Okay, for example, let's check here, guys. Why examination related stress leads to rote learning. Rote learning means without understanding, just simply by hearting. That means whenever the examination stress is there, then the students start rote learning. Okay. Next, why and how stress leads to heart diseases. That means if you are trying to explain, okay, that means why and how the stress leads to the heart diseases. So if you're trying to explain with some with some incidents, okay, or else something, then it comes under the explanatory type of the research. Next, experimental type of research means that all of you know that generally we are going to do the experiments and we are going to do the practicals, okay, and it's a practically proven one. Okay, so it begins with the question concerning the relation between the two or more variables. Fine. So if you are doing any one type of experimental type of research means, okay, you are trying to find out some kind of relation between the two or more variables, right? Okay, so the simultaneously the researcher develops the one or more hypothesis, okay, to state the nature of the expected relation. That means in the experimental research, first the researcher develop one hypothesis. Hypothesis is nothing but a one general statement. It is not a proven one. Okay, one general statement first the researcher will give, and from this hypothesis the researcher will start doing the experiment, and then the researcher tries to prove this hypothesis. Fine. So this experimental research starts with the hypothesis. Okay, and then in its simplest form, an experiment has the three characteristics. One is the independent variable, and other one is the what we call all other variables are held constant, and the effect of manipulation of the independent variable on the dependent variable is observed. Okay, so what it means is that, see, yes, for example, we are having the different teaching methodologies what we discussed in the previous lectures, and this teaching methodology is applied to the some group of students. Okay, 30 group and 30 group. That means it is, let's take it as a A group and B group. In the A group 30 students are there, in the B group 30 students are there, and if I apply this teaching two different teaching methodologies, that means teaching methodology 1 to group A, teaching methodology 2 to group B. Okay, then I'm just trying to analyze which teaching methodology is very good and efficient one after getting the results of both these two students. Okay, results of the both these two group of students. Fine. So in this case, teaching methodology comes under the independent variable. Okay, independent variable, and this one is controlled by the teacher or else the researcher. And group A and group B, whatever the members are there in the group A and group B, both these two are called as a dependent variable. Why? Because these students are depending upon the teaching methodology. That means the students are depending upon the independent variable. That's why these are comes under the dependent variable and the teaching methodology comes under the independent variable. So in the experimental research, we are trying to find out the relation between the independent variables and the dependent variables. Okay, so that is the case of this one, guys. And generally we are having the three different types of characteristics are there in the experimental research. One is the control. That means we are having the different variables will be there. So out of the different variables, few variables have to be controlled, okay, to get the proper relation between the required variables, and proper manipulation has to do, and we have to do the keen observation. Okay, whatever the data we are collecting and whatever the in the previous example, whatever the result of the students we are getting, we have to do the very keen observation. Okay, and then we are trying to find out the relationship between the independent variable and a dependent variable. Okay, next, classification of research based upon the outcome. So here the two different types are there. One is the fundamental research and second one is the applied research. So fundamental research means it is just like to add, that means the main purpose of the basic or the pure research is to add existing stock of knowledge, okay, and then it can be intellectually challenging, right? So knowledge produced through the pure research is sought in order to add to the existing body of the research methods, and it is not likely to have any practical application to present time or else even in the future, okay. It might don't have any type of practical applications, okay, but we're simply proposing one type of statements, okay. It might be like that and it might be like this. So whatever the existing knowledge is there, we're just adding some additional knowledge to the existing knowledge, okay. That is called as a fundamental or the pure research. Or else while coming to the applied research means this research is done to solve the specific or the practical questions facing the society, okay, and it can also be used for the policy formulations, administrations, and understanding of any one phenomenon or else a situation, and it's always done according to the basic research and can be carried out by the academic or the industrial institutions, fine. So let's take one example here, guys. An academic institution such as an university will have a specific applied research program funded by an industrial partner interested in that program, okay. So fundamental research means generally we can take here adding some kind of existing additional knowledge to the existing knowledge, and applied research means whatever the previously existing knowledge is there, we are just using this existing knowledge for our research work. It is nothing but applied research. For example, we'll tell as applied mathematics. That means some mathematic concepts will be there, and these mathematic concepts we will apply to our concept to solve out our problem, okay. So that is applied research. Next, basis upon the logic, okay, we can define here the deductive and the inductive approaches or the research. So deductive means it is also called as a top down or else a general to specific. So general to specific means, so unknown to known, okay, unknown to known. That means generally our PhD research work will generally starts with one generalized concept and then we will come up with the specific conclusion, right? So that is the meaning of top down or the unknown to known or else general to specific. So in deduction process, first we will state the hypothesis and then collect the data to test your hypothesis whether it is correct or not, and then making decisions to accept or reject the proposed hypothesis, okay. So hypothesis is nothing but a one kind of assumptional statement. It is not practically proven, or else it is, we can call this one as in simple words, a research proposal. You are a research proposal. That means until and unless if it is not proven, it's just a proposal, that's it, okay. Next, inductive type of approach means it is just quite opposite to the deductive type of research, guys. It is bottom up approach, or else specific to general, or else known to unknown, okay. We can take like this. So here in this case, that means generally let's observe the Newton case, okay. Newton just sat under the apple tree and one apple fell down, okay. So after fell down the apple, then Newton find out that okay, certain amount of gravitation field will be there, and then this specific incident is applied to overall the earth planet. That means entire earth is having the gravitational field. It is nothing but some specific to general, right? So it is the best example to the inductive type of research, fine. Next, so a basis upon the inquiry mode, researcher having the structured and the unstructured approach. So the name itself, they are telling that structured approach means here each and everything will be followed in a specific way. That means objectives we will design, okay, and the sample will be there, and a few questions that the researcher plans to ask the respondents is a predetermined. Everything is a predetermined. That means structure means we will be having one pre-plan will be there, so we will follow that thing, okay. It is nothing but a structure. And while coming to the unstructured means such type of pre-planning will not be there. So generally the structured type of approach called as a quantitative type of research, that means collecting the data, and unstructured type of research is nothing but a qualitative type of research. That means how depth you are doing your research, okay. How depth, qualitative means how depth you are doing the research, quantitative means how much data you are collecting. That is nothing but a quantitative, fine. So here we need not to follow one specific order, so that's why a lot of flexibility will be there to the researcher, okay. Next, while coming to the basis of process, okay, quantitative and the qualitative and the mixed research will be there. So as I told that qualitative research is nothing but we are starting with some kind of hypothesis and we are collecting the data, analyzing the data, and then accepting or rejecting the hypothesis. Okay, so it is mostly associated with the positivist or the positivist paradigm. That means it involves the collecting the data and converting the data into the numerical forms, and we will do some statistical calculations, and then we will come to one conclusion, and that conclusion gives one clarity whether the taken hypothesis is correct or wrong. And coming to the qualitative type of research, so it is just qualitative means basically inductive or a spiral in nature. It's a very different structure will be there, and the researcher starts with one tentative idea or else one tentative question. Okay, so here the researcher starts with tentative idea or question or some kind of observation and ends with a theoretical position or the stance. So here we are not going to collect any type of data and some type of numerical things we are not going to deal with. Okay, we will start with one idea or the question or else some observation, and we will end up with the theoretical type of conclusions. Fine. Next, mixed research means some research requires both the quantitative as well as the qualitative. Both these two will require. Such type of research is called as a mixed type of research. And on the basis of concept, we can divide the research into the two types. So one is the empirical research and second one is the action research. Empirical research means based upon the experience or the observation alone. That means based upon the researcher experience, whatever the research is going on, that is called as a empirical. Empirical is nothing but experience. Okay, remember carefully, guys. So because most of the times we got the question in the NTA UGC exam from this one. So doing the research based upon the experience of the researcher can be called as empirical research, and the researcher is in control over the facts only. And empirical research is appropriate when proof is sought and certain variable affect the other variables in one way or the another. That means with respect to some facts or the proofs related one is the empirical research. Next, while coming to the action research means here we will plan first and then we will act as per the plan, and we will observe the situations. If the situations are not as per our thing, then we will reflect or else the replan we will do. Okay, then we will revise plan, act, observe and reflect. We will keep on doing things like this. Okay, so in this one, plan, act, observe and reflect. So everything are given here. What is the planning, what is the action, what is the observation and what is the reflection. Okay, so planning is nothing but you have to analyze the problem first. Okay, you have to analyze your problem carefully. So that is the planning. And after the planning stage, okay, action means you have to investigate. Okay, you mean procedures of investigation have been determined. Okay, and this stage is time bounded. Okay, the researcher has to administer the tools to collect the data and the information. Okay, next, observation means whatever the data you collected, that you have to carefully observe. Okay, observation has to be objectively done without any presuppositions. That means you should not use any your assumptions on the collected data. Okay, you have to collect the data and properly do your research. Okay, you have to monitor carefully and you have to record. Okay, don't put your assumptions there. Okay, so reflection is nothing but whatever the result or whatever the things you analyzed, okay, the conclusions will be reflected. Fine. So these are the different types of researchers, guys. So please go through this one, and while coming to the next video, I will come up with the third topic of the research methodology. Okay, that is the steps of research. Fine. So please subscribe the channel and then share this channel to each and everybody, guys. It will be helpful to you and to me also. Thank you.